Hi and hello. I am Colonel Sudhir Barge. Today is 18th October 2015. A few senior defense veterans have got together to discuss the one rank, one pension. The participants in this discussion are the anchor for the show is Mrs. Chaya Gadkari. The script writer, who is also the planner, is Commander Ravindra Pathak. The other participants are Brigadier Sharad Luktuke, Wing Commander Suresh Karnik, VRC, Colonel Arun More, Major Arun Gadkari, Colonel Jayashri Pakshi, Mrs. Ujjwala Barge, and the cameraman is Colonel Sudhir Barge. With that, I hand you over to the anchor, Mrs. Chaya Gadkari. Over to Chaya.
Good morning, all of you. We are all gathered here on behalf of Pune's senior veterans to discuss about OROP. A number of people are not clear about what all this OROP business is about and why the veterans are still at Jantar Mantar. We are today going to try and answer and explain this. Brigadier Luktuke, can you please explain what is OROP and what are your demands?
OROP implies that uniform pension be paid to armed forces personnel retiring in the same rank with the same length of service irrespective of their date of retirement, and any future enhancement in the rates of pension to be automatically passed on to the past pensioners. We are not demanding, begging. We want Vachan Purti, that is fulfillment of promise by the BJP. We are not demanding our rightful dues of OROP, which an acronym was created by Mr. K.P. Singh Dev committee formed by Congress and accepted by them. We have waited for 42 years, and all soldiers and their widows who died between 1973 and now without seeing OROP have paid for the greed of the civilian service.
The RM has announced OROP on 5th September 2015. Then why are the veterans still at Jantar Mantar? Commander Pathak, can you explain this?
There are 7 reasons why we are not happy with what has been announced on the 5th of September. First is the base year. What was agreed was financial year 2013-14. However, this has now been changed to calendar year 2013. This change will completely ruin the definition of OROP as accepted. Date of implementation. The initial date of implementation was 1st April 2014. The government has now declared 1st July 2014. This would mean an overall loss of 2,100 crores to the veterans. The annual rationalization of pension. This is actually being floated as a myth that it will have a perpetual effect on the financial burden of the country. This is not true. It can be neutralized and will become zero in about 4 to 5 years. The technical difficulty that is being put out for annual increment is not true. We have already a software where the matter can be actually resolved within a couple of seconds for each individual. The fourth issue with which we are not happy is the one-man judicial commission. There is no justification for such a commission when the OROP definition has been accepted by 2 parliaments and has actually been advertised by the government as accepted. These 4 issues were actually discussed with the Raksha Mantri just before his announcement on 5th. The other issues are the likelihood of OROP being referred to the 7th Pay Commission. This is totally not acceptable. It is not possible that something that has been accepted by the Parliament can now be referred to a commission. The other issue is fixation of pension as a mean of the salary for calendar year. This means no top of the scale fixation. This itself will kill the very definition of OROP as announced by the government. We cannot trust Government of India as the Babus have found ways and means of denying OROP for the past 42 years and continue to do so even today by various means, including planted articles and needled demands by others. An example is the last minute bombshell of premature retirement or the VRS. This has no standing in the definition of one rank, one pension. The finance minister has told the Indian ex-serviceman movement team that met him that the BJP's promise to soldiers during the election time were never meant to be honored. Can, gentlemen, this ever give any confidence in this government?
Are there any financial constraints?
The Union Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, has always maintained that there is no dearth of money. Therefore, this contention is not correct that there is dearth of money. The problem really is the attitude, because the finance minister, while claiming no dearth of money, has always said lower your expectations. Now, what does he mean, lower your expectations? Does he want to change the definition, which in fact he has said there are very many other definitions of one rank, one pension?
The agitation is now on for over 4 months. Do you feel, Mrs. Varghese, this will have any adverse effect on those serving?
Yes, indeed. It has already started to adversely affect the morale of the serving. and the damage caused to the fabric of the defense fraternity, including the retired, had damaged the very fundamental values of the group, since the serving are looking at their future. This is going to take years to repair. One must understand that a dissatisfied man behind the most sophisticated weapon cannot win wars for you. The history is full of such examples, and the best is the Vietnam War. All nations have either OROP or a better pension edge over civil service for their forces than India.
Wing Commander Karnik, Veer Chakra awardee officer. There is a growing demand from other services for OROP, and this seems to be making this government go slow, as it may have cascading effect and would be economically non viable.
One must understand that OROP is just the tip of the iceberg, and there are many other discriminations against the defense forces. Why the other services cannot ask for OROP is a very fundamental reason of OROP, because OROP is in a truncated service and young age of retirement. No other service has these conditions. The number of deaths, long working hours, facing the bullet in Naxalite areas has nothing to do with OROP. All those who face such service conditions retire at 60 years of age. Is the nation willing to accept a 60-year-old at the border? Security of the nation does not come, is neither free nor cheap. You have to pay a price for it.
Brigadier Luktuke, many people talk of defense forces getting the CSD perks. What is your take on this?
There are many other who also get the same directly as authorized, and others who misuse the CSD facility due to their seat of power. The CSD facility is now also available to all defense civilians paid out of defense estimates. One must know that as per the laid down policy, 50% of total profits earned by the CSD is being deposited into Consolidated Fund of India. The remaining 50% is distributed to various beneficiaries as determined by the competent authority. After deduction of regular and ad hoc allocations of 4.91% of this amount, the balance is allocated to Army, Air Force and Navy. I would like to bring out that the CSD profits are being used for 1. Defense Civilians Medical Aid Fund, Sanskriti School run by wives of bureaucrats, and 3. For Chai Pani within the Ministry of Defense, a generous allowance given to bureaucrats for the purpose that is not given to service officers under the incidental and miscellaneous heads.
There's a question for Colonel Bakshi. One of the fears is the future increase in the burden on the exchanger. Please clarify if this is true.
Yes. Yes. Initially, there will be a burden, but it will peter out over the next 4-5 years. And the sine wave effect will take place, and the final additional outflow of the account of annual adjustment will be zero as long as there is no external stimulus. Incidentally, the percentage of share of defense pension, including defense civilians, has fallen from 50.54% to in 99-2000 to 0.38% in 2014-15, except for a rise post implementation of Sixth Pay Commission. If OROP is costly, then why not reverse the costs of 1973 adjustments, reduce the pensions of the civil service, who increased their pensions by a whopping 66%, and pay the soldiers OROP for the next 42 years?
We just heard some details on pension budget of India. Can you throw more light on it?
Yes, defense budget 54,000 crore, and the civilians, who are 22% of the defense pensioners, draw 45% of the budget allocation. This simply means that on an average, the pension of a defense civilian is more than that of soldiers.
Is there anyone in the country who draws OROP or its equivalent?
Yes, the top ranks in Lieutenant General and above in armed forces, but they are a very minuscule percentage of the total defense strength.
Colonel More, is there any other cost one needs to look at when talking of OROP?
Yes, certainly. Why only the costs of the bureaucracy and the armed forces? We also need to look at the cost we incur as a democracy itself. That is, when we pay our legislators, we are paying them for frittering away an entire session. Are we paying them for attendance that a college would disqualify a student from writing exams? What are the pension rules? How does their wealth multiply 500% in 5 years? It is time that these questions are asked. In addition, we are paying for sponsored riots and fracturing of society.
Colonel More, are we paying a price in terms of security of country being compromised?
Let me be very candid in stating that the way the OROP issue has been handled is a national disaster, which will have a significant effect on the national security in the years to come. In fact, there are reports of serving already have been affected and looking at their future. The handling of the situation at Jantar Mantar on 14th August has caused the greatest damage to the social fabric of the defense forces. This damage will take years to repair and has changed the psyche of a soldier forever. There is no denying that a satisfied man behind even an old weapon is a better than a dissatisfied man behind the best weapon. Vietnam War is an example. If, as reported by the finance minister, did actually say that we have to divert funds from the National Disaster Fund, then he is very much on target. This is a national disaster.
One more question to Commander Pathak. Would you explain non-functional financial upgrade?
Yes, before I do that, let me clear what Colonel More said about 14th August. On the 14th August, senior veterans wearing their medals were manhandled by the police. The defenders of the country were now suspect terrorists as far as the Delhi police were concerned. It is unfortunate that not one police officer or the individual who ordered this operation at Jantar Mantar on the 14th has so far been either identified or punished. Now coming to your question of non-functional financial upgrade. This is applicable to all Class A All India services, including the IAS and the IFS. And it means that if your batchmate gets promoted, you will get promoted 2 years later financially to draw the same salary as your batchmate. This in effect means that everybody will retire at the rank where you have a fixed scale and therefore you will get OROP. I may also like to bring out that defense forces are the only service in the country which is accountable and where justice is delivered and delivered quickly. There is no other service or even a politician who are accountable for their acts of commission or omission.
So, after all this discussion, Major Gadkari, Major Gadkari, as you are the senior most veteran in age here, can you make a closing statement on what all we discuss about OROP?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have all discussed about ORP, but at this stage, I highly recommend and appreciate the effort which has been put in by our veterans at Jantar Mantar, Delhi. Due to the shortage of time, we have not been able to discrimination about the defense forces problems like ECHS, allowances, neglect of our disabled persons, the reorganization of administration of welfare of our veterans, and etc. Now, at this stage, we appeal to young citizens of our country and the young veterans at present and which are going to come tomorrow, that gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on our way out. We have lit a flame at Jantar Mantar and we hope you all will carry out the flame further. This is not only to resolve or solve the problems of veterans, but also the major issues of security of our nation. अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन है साथियों, please help us out. Thank you.